Okay, and we're going to go ahead and get the ball rolling. Thank you again. We really do appreciate your time today. This is, again, our Procorem focused webinar hosted by ProLink Solutions. Procorem is one of our products that we offer through ProLink, and we're going to focus on our compliance service offering for our property managers and owner agents today. I am Bree Kruger. I am the Executive Vice President for ProLink Solutions. I oversee new business development and relationship management for the company. I'm also in charge of our customer success program, which means that I ensure that we have good, productive relationships with all of our clients across all of our products, making sure that we continue to meet the needs of our clients over time as requirements change and new needs need to be met in the affordable housing industry. So I'm very much looking forward to today's webinar topic, which is really just talking about that exactly. I'm joined by Jim Paris, who's our sales engineer. Jim, I'll let you say hi to everybody.
Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are in the country. It's really great to be in front of all you guys. Thanks for joining.
Okay, thanks, Jim. So I'm going to handle kind of the business presentation and introduction of this meeting, and then Jim is going to share some kind of a demonstration and screenshots of the actual offering that we're discussing today. So getting into our agenda, I just kind of covered that. So I'll cover our service offering, and then Jim will be covering the demonstration. A little bit on our intro. For those who might not be so familiar with ProLink, I did want to just make sure that you understand the position that we sit in and cover in the industry. So many of you are logging in probably potentially because you work with one of our state housing finance agencies that we support. And you might use Procorem to submit your tenant events and other information around compliance and managing your properties throughout the year. So Procorem is our collaboration tool that we offer as part of our product suite to our housing finance agencies, which is that's kind of the cornerstone of our client base. But we have been in the affordable housing industry for over 20 years now. And we like to call it the 3 pillars of affordable housing that represent our client base. So we have our state and local housing finance agencies, which are basically the first clients we started with in this industry. We have tax credit and syndicator investor clients in affordable housing, and then also developers and some property managers who use Procorem independently right now. Our goal from the very beginning has always been around building holistic platforms to manage portfolios. So, from kind of the origination or building stage of a project all the way through asset management, even reselling that project after tax credit, that term has ended, and recycling that project through another tax credit round. That is all kind of part of what we do and build our systems to support. But on top of that, what we've really been focused on in recent years is also connecting the parties involved in affordable housing. So holistically meeting the needs of your kind of the projects and the properties from that origination on through the rest of that LIHTC program term. But also, how do we connect and eliminate kind of redundancy or risk for error in the translation of data between tenants and property managers and owners to agencies to HUD, quite a few steps there. We're all really using the same information, even you think about properties to any investors or syndicators involved in those deals. We're all kind of measuring ourselves against the same information here, and we've tried our best and are continuing to focus on leveraging our existing technology to make that as seamless of a process as possible. So leveraging each other in these transactions to save as much money as we can to go towards the root of what we're here to solve, which is a lack of affordable housing in our country. So our team is made up of technologists first. We're a software firm, but Many of our people have been with us for so many years. I would say we're like experts. We have quite an expertise in affordable housing as well, especially around LIHTC programs and home programs. We also have some industry folks who have joined us over the years coming from, tax credit and syndication backgrounds as well, which really helps our expertise grow over time. We also, you might know, I'm sure there's some people on the phone who are familiar with XML, the NAMA XML standard, which is that file, as you guys heard during our last training event a couple weeks ago with Sarah Supernaut covering our tenant event portal. NAMA XML is that standard XML that can pull data out of a lot of property management tools, abide by that standard, and it allows ProLink or Procorem to pull that information in and supply it to the agencies more seamlessly without as much manual entry. So the process of actually managing the NAMA standard is done through a group. It's kind of a committee organization that talks about the needs, the requirements of data, and make sure that the software providers kind of adhere to that and make changes so that we're all using, apples to apples as much as we could be apples to apples in the translation of data, the better we are. So ProLink has been a contributing member of that organization for many years. They actually use Procorem to facilitate that group on a regular basis for collaboration. We have supported our clients for over 10 years with their compliance needs. So the tenant event portal has been available now for about 10 years. We are a market leader in LIHTC program management. We are known across the country, especially with our state housing agencies, where we are supporting 17 agencies, and I'm crossing my fingers that'll be 19 here pretty soon, with their portfolio management software. So certainly have supported at the agency level. That has given us a lot of firsthand experience in supporting their partners as well, and property managers, owner agents. We've been working with you directly. Some of you may know some ProLink people from working with us over the years, and it's positioned us now where we are poised to offer the technology that we have been supplying at the state agency level. A lot of that can be purposed and put to great use in supporting our property managers and owner agents, especially around compliance readiness. So that's what I'm talking about here. We're going to cover a few different sections of this offering that really make up a holistic consideration for compliance and really just your property management needs. Starting with Procorem. So you guys have probably, some of you have logged in and used Procorem to submit data again to those agencies you're working with. We would like to make sure you're aware that you can gain your own Procorem account for your property. That is something that we offer, which can really set us up for success in some of these other areas, to support you with a SaaS model. So SaaS, software as a service, is the combination of technology, the tools like Procorem, and then services coming from ProLink staff to help support you and your business needs around affordable compliance. So we'll talk about a Procorem account and what that provides you, what functionality that would provide you with. Tenant data collection support is another area that we're really well positioned to offer with the use of Procorem as it stands today. And it's what our agencies, again, the state agencies you're working with, they're using it in that capacity. So it's basically like taking the mirror image of that and offering it to our owner agents, our property managers, to take advantage of that. Tenant file management is an area that we are offering, and then compliance audit readiness. So actually taking what we've built, the compliance engine that our state agencies use to run compliance against your data, we have the ability to facilitate kind of like a pre-audit to test your compliance ahead of submitting it to the agencies, which can be extremely beneficial. depending on your portfolio size, and managing your risk there. So to start us off, just talking about Procorem, we have a screenshot on the right-hand side that is just showing a little picture of a project, a property called Garden Court Apartments in Procorem. So the features that you might be familiar with already, having seen them logging into the state agency Procorem account that you're invited to. We do offer like document collaboration and storage on Procorem. So the ability to manage files, you can manage tenant files, you can manage unit files and organize that and invite people in to view those files and contribute towards those things in a private and secure manner on Procorem. Project and task management through our task functionality allows us to pre-configure tasks to meet compliance standards. So whatever programs you might be participating in, we have the ability to create templates and task out everything required each year, that you for the requirements of the programs you're participating in. So this is really powerful in kind of especially if you might be new or you have a change in property management that your property manager might change at some point. Certainly can help get people oriented to the process and the required steps of each program and where things are left off by any predecessors or contributors. And it eliminates the need to kind of reach out and get everybody on the same page, because that would be automatically happening through notifications coming from Procorem. So certainly something we'll dive into today and in future webinars is the power of our task functionality. We offer dedicated work centers. So for those of you who might be working directly with agencies and logging in to Procorem, you might be invited to a work center. Work centers, basically it's like a closed door room. Think of it that way. So a work center could represent a unit where you might be working kind of back office and from at the compliance level around unit compliance. Maybe you're inviting in your auditor to look at information specific to a unit, versus a work center could also mean a private work center that you host with your tenant to collect and manage their information on a regular ongoing basis and make sure that they have accessibility to the documents they've provided you, and you also have that and have a place of communication outside of email that's more accessible to anybody who might need to get involved at any point in that relationship. So that's work centers. Procorem is mobile and secure. You can access Procorem anywhere as long as you have internet. So just keep that in mind. It does make things easy in managing relationships and collaboration in many aspects. So tenant data collection support. Procorem, like I said, the work centers allow you, the owner agent, to store all interactions with each tenant from day one. So you can literally use those work centers to replace all communication. We have posts that kind of act like email notifications or like, personal messaging that you can use. It stores documents and there's an audit trail as well. Things are time stamped. So it's very clean and very holistic from an audit perspective to really collect and memorialize any interactions with your tenants, but any other relationships that you need to memorialize as well. Certainly consider those work centers as an opportunity there. Could really benefit when it comes to backup documentation, or again, if new people are coming into the mix or you're a new property manager, certainly it can help orient you to the position of that relationship rather than having to kind of scour emails to find that information. So on top of the kind of just the maintenance and storage of information through the work centers, we can also help with data collection for compliance. And this is related more to back to that NAMA XML standard. that version of NAMA that you have available to you has to do with the version of the property management tool that you're on. So if your property management tool, if it's like a large, provider that does adhere to the NAMA XML standard, like Yardi or RealPage, some of those larger players, then if you haven't upgraded your software recently, you might be on an older version of NAMA XML. So V2, I think V7 is the one that's most current. So ProLink has the ability to assist you if you do have an old version of the NAMA XML standard that might be missing fields or information that's been added as requirements since then on V7. We have the ability to help you import those previous versions and convert it to the version 7 standard that you will need to submit to your agency. So that's very powerful and I'm sure helpful for some who might be in that position. Could also allow you to be more flexible with your decisions around upgrading your property management tools. Also, we can help with then, if you have needs where, manual entry is something that you must, your property management tool does not offer the ability to export XML in the NAMA format, and you're manually entering that information, we have the ability to basically generate that version 7 XML form still out of the manual process of entering that data. We can help with entering data entry support for household members' income and assets through Procorem, which then will help automatically generate that TIC form, that tenant income certification form that is required, and provide that to you in the regulatory standard. The picture of the form is over there on the right-hand side. So it does make that process easier and more manageable through Procorem, a little bit more automated. Okay, moving on to tenant file management. So, we were talking previously about tenant data collections and then thinking about file management. Again, uploading and storing all required documentation for LIHTC and Section 8 programs. We have the ability to store all of that and help kind of walk you through it through the task functionality that I described earlier. All documentation on Procorem is timestamped. It's easily accessible to anybody you invite, and you get to set up privileges. So it can be read-only, or you can allow people to edit based off of your discretion to any documentation on Procorem. Soon we can, we're going to be releasing an occupancy report that would allow, based off of the information you decide to include on Procorem and share with us, we would be able to generate an occupancy report for any as of date. We have the ability also, this is kind of, we'll probably do a follow-up webinar to cover this in more detail, but we have the ability, and you have the ability in Procorem to develop templates. So this is extremely powerful, especially for larger organizations who might have multiple property managers. We can develop templates on an annual, updated annually to meet LIHTC home, Section 8 state set-aside requirements. And that template can be basically imported to any work center, any unit, any tenant file where it is pertinent, so that you have, starting day one of the year, the LIHTC requirements templated out, including documentation you need to provide, tasks you need to complete. All of that is automatically it can be set up ahead of time and then basically pasted into the work centers that require it. So it certainly makes it very easy to standardize across your organization. And again, if you're struggling at all with new staff coming into this, we're definitely hearing about turnover. It just is the nature of the game for every industry, I think, in recent years. it can certainly help with kind of people's ability to connect the dots on what is required and needs to be done for some of these programs, to have these templates with tasks and all the required documentation available to them in Procorem. Assistance in setting up any additional program templates. Again, we have the ability and plan to share the regulatory templates that can be built for these federal programs. You might also have state requirements or additional templates that you want to create and populate across your portfolio, across your property units, and we can show you and help you do that. And again, this provides a very secure and accessible space to facilitate your collaboration with really any parties, including your tenants. So again, our agencies and our banking clients, they all rely on Procorem for this same purpose. It is a safe and secure place to collaborate and share information with them. Last is compliance. So we've done all of the kind of data collection and organizing and collaboration setup. And then, you think about compliance, there's some pretty hefty penalties involved if we don't meet our compliance standards. So when we think about what we can do, we can invest to set ourselves up for success there, there's definitely some power in ProLink to be able to offer to our owner agents. We have the ability to basically use the same compliance engine that our agency clients use to run against your tenant event data. We can facilitate, basically run like a pre-test, a pre-audit based on program requirements to ensure that you are meeting the compliance requirements before you submit your data to the agency. So we can evaluate income and rent limits against set-asides, and then provide an auditable copy of all activity within the work center. So again, if you're housing your data in Procorem, you have that data available and easily shareable with the state agency as well. You can even invite them in case you can make copies of work centers and invite agency staff in to view documentation that they might need to see. So there's a lot of power in being on the same platform that your state agency is on and managing your property. Okay, so that's kind of a summary level view, lots talked about there. I promise you we will be offering kind of deep dives into each one of those areas in this series. But I'd like to pass it to Jim Paris to wrap us up. He's going to spend just a few minutes walking through some screenshots of what I've just talked about. And then at a later date, we will be offering a live demo as well of Procorem. So Jim, go ahead and take it on.
Thanks, Bree. So yeah, what I'm going to be walking through here is just a little bit of a preview of the solution here, and there'll be instructions at the end if you guys want a full demo with us at some point in the next few weeks to see the solution kind of live to you. But starting off here, I'm showing you the tenant file management capabilities here. So within your Procorem account, you can create a work center for each vacant or occupied unit, and you can add the collaborators here, of course, yourself as the property manager or owner agent, as well as the tenant. So they can provide you the documentation that you need from them. And you can store it here in Procorem rather than maybe like a physical file cabinet on site at your property. So for each program's annual review or even the tenant qualification process, you can have a template set up within Procorem. So you can see here, my example is my LIHTC annual review template, and it's going to have folders here to house particular documentation related to the annual review, and it can also house document templates, so kind of the blank documents that you need to have filled out by your tenant with that tenant's information. And you can also have tasks as part of that template. So you can see here, I'm asking my tenant for their bank verification. I'm asking my tenant for their student status information, if applicable. I'm asking the tenant for their tax information, employment verification, etc. And it'll bring the tenant through all these steps and link them to the appropriate forms that they need to fill out to complete this task. And these tasks can be set to be dependent on you approving it before it's actually marked complete in the system. So the tenant knows, hey, I've made it through the process. Hey, this is actually complete. I can go on to the next thing, or, I'm completely done. And you can set up templates here. You can see I have a home annual review template that we've set up. I have LIHTC as well. And then I do have like the tenant qualification process as well. So if you have somebody kind of applying to reside in a unit that's currently vacant, you can create a workflow with tasks as well as the proper documents for that too. And again, like Bree said, we can work with you to create templates for any other programs, maybe state-specific programs in your area, for templatizing those, so you don't have to recreate them every time you do a new review on a new unit. Here, this shows you how you can apply those templates to the corresponding vacant or occupied units work center. So you can see here, I just go to my templates. I can apply it to my unit 101, either home, LIHTC, tenant qualification. And here you can see I can apply multiple templates and even multiple times for different years or for different programs. So you can see in Unit 101, I have my template for home as well as my template for LIHTC in 2024. I can even have, LIHTC for 2023, LIHTC for 2022. So I can keep all of those records within the same work center on that unit. So I can have those files available if the state ever wants them. Once the template is applied, you can see here, now I have that file folder structure as well as those file templates, not only within my template, but now they're applied to my Unit 101 Work Center. And you can also see here, they are applied, the tasks here are applied to that work center. Now on to the compliance services here. So I showed you kind of how our software can support managing your tenant files and storing your tenant files and guiding you and your tenants through the process of filling out and completing the proper documentation during that annual review or qualification process. Now what we can do here is we have some software tools as well as back-end services to help you not only test your XML files, but run kind of like a compliance pre-audit before you start submitting information to the state via that non-Excel file. I'll show you here. So within this portal, you can upload your non-XML file in your Procorem environment before you try to submit it over to the state HFA. And what this will do for you is you can submit your XML file by importing it here within Procorem. And then what it's going to do is it's going to spit out any errors on your XML file. So what this can do is you can run this, find your errors, fix them. So then you can go in to the state and be confident in the fact that you have a proper XML file that's going to be seamless and go to the state without the state having to come back to you with any errors. And then this is our more detailed kind of pre-audit compliance report. So this last one was more about, hey, there's something wrong with the file. There's maybe something missing from a technical perspective on the file. But this report is actually going to be like I would almost say like an AI type of compliance pre-audit based on the complete data that you did submit once the XML file is kind of properly formed from a technical perspective. So here you can see, hey, I've got bin number 3570, Wheeler and 216. Here are some kind of compliance exceptions, some issues with what's going on with Wheeler in this unit. So you can kind of review all this stuff and kind of see what the state will see and tell you in response to your data. before you send it to them, so you can go ahead and kind of review, hey, what's going on in my property? What are the compliance issues that the state's probably going to come back to me with? How can I fix those before I actually submit all this stuff to the state agency? So really what this lets you do is it lets you kind of get ahead of yourself and kind of audit yourself before you send your information to the state for their audit of your information, if that makes sense. So a few pieces to this. Again, if you guys do want a more full live demo of this software and service offering, you can feel free to reach out to me after this demo. My phone number, my email is right here. We do appreciate you guys joining. We're really excited about this service offering. We've been hearing kind of a lot of needs from the market here in terms of, these owner agents, property managers like yourself, wanting to really streamline this process and make sure that their staff, maybe they have new staff who's not familiar with affordable housing, making sure their staff has a really good way to make sure that they are gathering this information and submitting it, in a correct and complete manner. But yeah, feel free to reach out to us after this call. We'd be happy to have a conversation with you guys to discuss what's going on in your organization, as well as give you more detail on what we could do to come in and help and provide for you.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We'll see you next time. We're going to post very soon here our update on next month, our March webinar for Procorem. So we'll see you then. Appreciate your time. Have a wonderful day.